Alrighty.
All right. I really don't know if this is going to become like a thing I do regularly on my channel, or this is just a one-off thing. So we'll see how well we do now, and then
That's all good. Let's just jump into it.
yep. All right. So welcome everyone. I'm Mr. No Life, obviously. This is Henry Badger, who
Hello?
yeah, uh, he does some streams on his channel. He's also getting into some voice acting, from what I heard from one of your videos.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, like you were in
Trying
like
to.
a Halo Machinima.
Yeah, I'm in a couple of other things too, but that's one of the most notable things as of right now.
All right, interesting. Yeah, it's nice to know
Mhm.
people are still making that kind of content in 2018 because I really miss that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, used to watch a bunch of Halo Machinima back in the day.
Oh yeah, tons, 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 tons.
Yep, especially with Arby
Yeah.
and the Chief and all that stuff. That was good.
Oh
Red
yeah,
and Red
absolutely.
versus
I'm
Blue.
glad they got the show back
Oh yeah, I
because
heard
of the
about
whole
that.
machinima thing. Goodness.
Ah, my oh my oh my.
Yeah, alrighty. So, the topic for today is what was it? Video games?
Yes, it was video games. You know.
All right, fantastic. Just kind of games we're looking forward to and stuff like that. So, if you want to begin, you're more than welcome to, but I have a few things written down myself as well.
All right, good. Well, thing is with me is that there isn't really too many games I'm looking forward to, but there are a few I could go over. Um, One of them I actually did a video on. Doom Eternal looks pretty good.
Hmm. I saw that video, yeah.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
excited for that because I've always been a big fan of Doom and I like Doom 2016. So I'm glad to see that Doom's going to become a more regular thing. Because originally there was like only a Doom game would come out only like 10 years. So now that it's become more of a regular thing, I'm kind of happy to see that.
Yeah, me as well. I hope it does become more of an established franchise, more than just a one-off kind of thing. As somebody who's a big fan of the classic Doom games as well, it is always nice to see that, that friendly face pop up more often.
Yeah, because Doom pretty
Of
much made FPS games what they are today.
exactly, yeah, no, like just about any FPS you can find today has some roots with Doom in one way or another, especially the Halo franchise. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
is always good to see the precursor to that being kind of the front of gaming again. So it's always good to see that.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
I don't really. There's not really much more I have to say about it because pretty much everything I had to say was in the video. But it looks like it's going to be fun. Looks like the new mechanics going to be adding to the game in a good way,
Oh
not a
yeah.
bad way.
Yeah.
Um, because Doom's always been about being mobile, being fast. So with the whole new mechanics of jumping around the map really fast, I feel like it's going to really add to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with all the verticality to that.
Oh yeah,
Like I said, the old Doom was fantastic. It had a very good what's the word that I'm looking for? Um, I'm completely drawing a blank, but it's got a very good environment. And there's not much jumping in that game. There's no jumping, in fact. So
yeah. You can only look
adding
left or right. There's no up
verticality,
or down.
yeah, exactly. Adding an extra verticality to that franchise is always very interesting. However, if they do make another Doom game, I'm wondering what they could possibly come up with additional mobility enhancements. So, like in this one, they obviously have like the grappling hook. I can't remember what it's called, but
It's called the meat
they
hook.
have like
Very
the
appropriate.
meat hook. Very appropriate, yes. Like with the addition of the meat hook and stuff, I'm just wondering what they'll do in the next game if they plan on adding more mobility. Um, that's just something that I've wondered about. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, because
Regardless, I'm excited.
Whenever you make a sequel, the pressure's always on to keep improving and keep adding more. So, you know,
Exactly.
there's a certain level where it's just like you've done so much work and you go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Um, I I haven't actually finished Doom 2016. I know that's crazy. I'm
Ooh.
almost done. I know, right? I'm already getting hate comments. No,
Nah, no one's is
it's
gonna hate you for it.
it is a good game. It's definitely a solid game. So I'm not gonna deny that. It's on my to-do list, but I'm almost complete anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
I
lot
put.
of games. I have like a list of like 20 or so games I need to finish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sometimes you just play a game and like something happens, or you just kind of lose track of it, and you just end up going on to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the advent of Steam and such like that. When people buy you games for like your birthday or just randomly they go, "Hey, try this game." By the end of like the year, you have like 100 games that you need to play.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. I owe a few of my friends some game time.
Yep.
But not much you can do. But yeah, no, I'm very much excited for Doom Eternal, and I don't think it's going to be a bad game in any way. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to have a very good launch and a very good lifespan. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Um.
Uh,
So you want to go next?
yeah, sure, sure. A game that I'm excited for the future, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little weary, just a little worried, in the sense that we don't have a whole lot of information on it, so it's kind of all up in the air. A few people are kind of already rolling their eyes because they're probably gonna know, knowing me, but the game that I'm talking about is Halo Infinite. Um,
Right.
I am a huge fan of the Halo franchise,
Me too.
very much excited for it. I'm just a little worried because we don't have a whole lot of information on it. Um, really, all we have is that trailer and that one piece of concept art that was shown during the tour at 343 Industries. So we'll just have to see how it goes. My guess is it will come out probably in like 2020. Given how long games take these days, I would imagine it would come out sometime late 2019, mid 2020. That's my guess.
Yeah. One sec. Excuse me. Um.
No worries.
Yeah. With Halo Infinite, yeah, I do agree. They haven't really shown too much. I mean, everyone's excited about it, which I guess is kind of a good thing because like the Halo community's kind of been very negative for a while now, and so to finally have something
Hmm.
positive, it's nice to. It's a nice thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's just like, well, there's not really too much to get excited about. I haven't really seen anything about the game. Pretty much all we've seen is that it takes place on a Halo ring. We have
Hmm.
Master Chief's classic armor, and we have the classic "Finish the Fight" theme from the Halo 3 trailer.
Oh yeah. Oh, that got me going though.
Oh yeah,
That got me through the day.
that was pretty good. But it kind of reminds me of like a lot of CGI game trailers. Not that that trailer was CGI, but it kind of reminds me of those in that they don't really showcase
That is true.
what the game actually is going to be. I mean, it could just be a clone of Halo 5. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It could, and some people even went as far as to say they're just trying to capitalize on nostalgia now. They're just going, oh, let's make the same game, but just
I
just
don't. I
add
don't think.
classic stuff.
I don't think 343 is trying to do that.
I, me either. Absolutely no. And I mean, looking at Halo Wars 2 with the kind of the art style change and a lot of the more classic stuff coming back, I think they're starting to kind of get the idea of what the community wants, and I think it's starting to go on a good track, the Halo franchise, and I think it's going to be I think it's only going to get better from here. I'm hopeful, but I am a little, you never know, because I was really hoping that Halo 5 was going to be the game. Like I still love Halo 5, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, it's a fun game.
yeah, like it does have a few issues like any game though, but
Yeah.
it's it's possible that Halo Infinite could either be a fantastic game or just an okay game. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and also the fact that the lead art director is the same guy who was behind Halo Wars 2. I feel like the visuals are going to be very good. The new graphics engine, Slipspace engine, that's going to look fantastic regardless. And I think the gameplay is going to be fantastic as well.
We'll have to wait and
Where
see.
whichever way it goes with enhanced mobility or how many things are going to be in the game, we'll have to see. But regardless, I think somebody's gonna like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Well, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. Um. I do feel like they're gonna do what they did with Halo Wars 2, where they kind of have a mix of both art styles. Because if you look in the trailer, they have like the Halo 5 battle rifles and the Halo Reach armor, and
Oh yeah.
the Halo 4 Warthog. So I'm thinking that's what they're gonna do because that's what people seem to like. Because I feel like if you take the best elements of both art styles and mash them together, I feel like a lot of people are going to be happy because there's people who like the old art style, there's people who like the new art style. Neither really wants to see him go, so it's kind
Mhm.
of a
Yeah,
big conflict there.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I am one of the people who likes a few things from the new art style
Yeah,
and a
same.
few things from the old art style. I feel like a few things from the old art style should be replaced. I can't. Well, like for instance, the Warthog. I really like the new Warthog. It looks very militarized. It looks like a real vehicle. It feels like a real vehicle that would be in some sort of military. Like the Halo 3 Warthog, I like it, obviously. Like I like all, I don't discriminate against any warthogs here, but the Halo 3 one, it's very smooth. Still looks like a military vehicle, but when you compare it to the one from Halo 4 or Halo 5, it just looks more prepared for battle. It's covered in a bunch of rails and gas tanks and stuff. Like it looks like it's ready to be out there in the wilderness for a long period of time,
Yeah,
and not just be deployed for short term battles. Um, I've always gotten that kind of feeling from the new Warthogs. The Mongoose, I don't know how I feel about the new Mongoose. It looks a little overly complicated in a way, but I'm glad they got the Reach Marines for Halo Infinite though. Very happy about that.
yeah. In my
The
opinion,
Reach art
the
style,
Reach Marines were the best.
hands down, best.
Yeah,
I love them so much. That or the Halo Wars Marines, like the I can't remember what it is called, but it's like they're also in Halo Wars 2, like the cutscenes, those Marines. I like those. I like those as well. But
yeah.
yeah.
Although one thing I think would be nice is if, with Halo Wars, obviously it was an RTS game, not a first-person shooter. What I would love to see is that they would try out different genres with Halo games.
Oof, absolutely. Yeah. No.
That'd be nice.
I at this current point in time, I'm totally fine with them doing just about anything. Um, as long as it's, within reason. I don't want a Halo dating sim. Actually, I want a Halo dating sim. Can we get a Halo dating sim? That'd be
Microsoft, take notes.
yeah, exactly. No, but I feel like Halo has a very broad universe and a very unique universe in the sense that it could be like they have books, obviously, they have comics, they have like Halo Legends,
They
and they
have the
have some
animated
live
movies.
action stuff. I genuinely feel like there could be more than just the games and the books and the comics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, like new genres of games, totally fine with that. I like some people might not agree, but Telltale, like those games.
yeah,
I wouldn't mind a Halo Telltale game that's like based on, maybe like scientists on one of the Halo rings studying the Halo ring or something, and there's some deep narrative or a space MacGuffin that they have to get, and people are, fighting over it or something like that.
yeah.
Maybe even like a Hunters in the Dark esque kind of story, but it's with Telltale or what's the other one? The murder mystery one. I can't remember.
Um,
It's the one with Fred. I can't remember. Anyway, something like that. It would be like a Telltale series. You're not playing as the chief or anything, but you're playing as a character in the Halo universe where there's a deep narrative, something like that.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like that would work well in for Halo. Believe it. Well, in my opinion, it's a bit of a far fetched kind of thought, but yeah, no, I feel like that could be a thing possibly. What are some? Do you have any ideas for something that Halo could do other than what they're currently doing, or
I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah.
it's all good?
Um, so we've already done RTS. We've done first-person shooters. We could go. Um, I don't really know.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, pretty much the Telltale idea is the only thing that I've had outside of like RTS and first-person shooters. Like I said, Halo has a lot of potential for more narrative. Like if you just even read some of the blog posts on Halo Waypoint, like you're like, wow, that's a lot of untapped potential that they could have made into a game or a book or I feel like Halo could be more than just first person shooters, RTS games, and just books. I feel like they could expand more on that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Although the thing is that if they were to do a different genre, would Microsoft see that as financially viable?
that is very true because it's a risk, definitely. I'm not gonna,
Yeah,
act like it isn't because it's a huge step. And even the first Halo Wars game, people were, I remember a couple of people were skeptical about it. They were like, "Oof, I don't know if that's gonna work for Halo." Most people were like, "Oh yeah, sick. We get to do some big Halo battles. That's awesome." But there was a couple of people who would be like, "Ooh, I don't know. It's have it not being able to have your boots on the ground and not being in the battle and I'm not sure if it'd work. And people were like, "Oh, just leave it to like other RTS games." And it's regardless. Any game is really a big step, even if it's in its own, even if it's its own genre, even if it's I can speak. Yeah, even if in its own genre. It's still a risk regardless because you're probably going to make changes and additions in the new game. So like for instance Halo 2 added dual wielding and I remember playing back in the day people would my friends would say oh no dual wielding it's cheap it's terrible unless if it's for the needler but it's it's cheap like we would have rules where some of our friends if we came over to play Halo 2 we couldn't do dual wielding because it would be unfair if you had two plasma rifles it would so it's you know, if any changes really are a risk and could potentially alienate the current audience. And the whole dual wielding thing was an example because some of my friends back in the day would go, "Ooh, no, I hate dual wielding." So subtle changes even could alienate uh, potential buyers. So yeah,
yeah,
any stepping outside of the genre could be potentially harmful or helpful. So
yeah.
yeah,
Because
sometimes you just got to take the leap.
yeah, because one of the things I thought Halo Wars did extremely well was RTS games are built usually for PC, and so like obviously you have like a million different buttons and you have to do a million different things. What I thought Halo Wars did really well, and especially Halo Wars 2, was make RTS a viable genre on consoles. I
Oh
thought,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, kind of like how the original Halo made FPS games a viable genre on consoles.
hmm Yeah, no, I see what you mean. That was also kind of a. I remember back when Halo Wars 1 first came out, people would say it's baby's first RTS because it's just so like. I can't remember who said that, but it was picked up by a few people, and it was kind of almost controversial. If you said you were an RTS player and you only played Halo Wars, people would be like, "Oh, that's." Some of the people playing like StarCraft would be like, "Oh, that's not a real RTS. Get out of here. You're
Yeah,
you're just a filthy casual." Um, so yeah, but no, I'm not dissing Halo Wars 1. I think for what the tools that they had to work with, they did exceptionally well. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. Another game I'm looking forward to. Oh yeah, there's this one game. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called My Friend Pedro.
It rings a bell, but I'm not quite my friend Pedro. You're gonna have to run that by me.
All right,
Give me, yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so it's a game that was inspired by like an indie flash game back in like 2014, and now they're making a full game about it.
My friend Pedro. It's strange. I almost like I feel like I've heard it before. I'm gonna Google
Yeah,
that.
it looks really awesome. It's a side scroller where you jump around in slow motion and you shoot stuff, and it looks really cool. And you do like kung fu moves. It's like the Matrix.
Okay, yeah, no, I've seen a trailer for this, I believe.
Yeah,
Huh.
but it looks really
Yeah,
cool.
very. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm really into bullet time shooters. You know, games like Max Payne.
Oh
Cause
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
and
remember playing that.
yeah, back in like the early 2000s, having bullet time in a video game was like a really popular thing. Over the years, it's kind of died off. So seeing it come back is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel like I can't remember what year it was, but there was almost like a fatigue for that. Like people were just like, oh, oh, come on. Like slow-mo dodging moments in games and stuff like that, or slow-mo shooting scenes. People would
Yeah,
be like, oh, come on. But I always feel like it's welcome.
yeah.
In some games, obviously, it would harm the game, the speed of the gameplay, but I feel like it's an interesting aspect that could be added in some games, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like the issue with a lot of games that did start using bullet time is it's an issue they talked about when they were making the original Max Payne because they had a bunch of different ideas for how the bullet time would work. One of the ideas is you would enter a room and then it would just like stay on for a minute. But the issue is that bullet time is better used in small doses rather than long, overdrawn stuff.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it works because you can just turn it on whenever you want. So it works then because it's just like an off and on again thing. You get it in small doses. If you have bullet time on for long periods of time, there's no fun to be had.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fresh, it's not new, it doesn't keep it's just the same thing, so it loses any uniqueness in the gameplay. But yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Fear did bullet time really well because
oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just
oh yeah,
fear.
yeah, I like Fear. Fear's like my favorite FPS game. I play it a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That game's really good.
Um, One game that I need to play more is the Metro series. I was just reminded of that.
Oh yeah, I,
Uh,
I remember playing the original 2033 game. Don't know if I beat it or not. I don't think I played last night. I know there's a new game coming out like sometime this year or
yeah.
next year.
Exodus. Yeah. It
Exodus
looks interesting.
looks pretty good. I know it's based off like a novel series or something.
Hmm. Yeah. That's another thing that I want to see. Novels being made into games because there's novels being made into movies.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that more. I think there's a lot of potential for, you know,
yeah.
stuff like that.
I've said that before. Like video games are probably the most open form of entertainment to tell a story.
Yeah, exactly. They're very and I still feel like even to this day they're an untapped media in some ways. There's only a few games that I can think of that are known for its outstanding narrative, and I feel like there could be a lot more these days.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel like there's even fewer games that really take advantage of, video games as a storytelling medium.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like that whole thing could expand more. Like games can be games, but they can also be conduits for storytelling. Like they can
Yeah,
be just as great as a film. They can tell the same story, if not more.
yeah,
Because with a game, you are in the story, so it has that deep emotional connection, even more so. So you can really tug at people's heartstrings and really involve people in the universe that you've built. So that's always interested me, and that's one of the reasons why I like video games so much. Because you're not the viewer, you are the player, you are the character.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I had something to
Um,
say, but it just blanked my head. I can't think of it anymore.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Uh, Oh, here's an interesting game.
All
It's
right.
already been out for a little while,
All right.
but I'm not sure if you played it. Hollow Knight. Have you ever played that?
I've heard of it. I did see a Joseph Anderson critique of it.
Mm.
He does like critiques of games. Did see a thing of it. I've been wanting to try it out for a while. It's on my list of games to play, but I have not played it in a while. I saw you streaming it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. It's one of those games that are not for everyone. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I know a ton of people. I think I gave it away to like five of my buddies, and only one of them is into it. So it's an amazing game, and it's got a really good narrative, good characters. It's a cutesy art style, but it deals with some heavy themes. Quite a lot of heavy themes, actually, if you think about it. And it's one of those games. I can't remember for the life of me who said this, but there was a guy who was reviewing the game before I bought it. He said, if the characters were replaced with actual like humans, the game would be like T for teen, maybe even M for mature, just because of its theme. So I'm not gonna spoil, but there's a couple of things that happen in the game that are yowza.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some games. Speaking of rating systems, there's some games that don't know why they get rated the thing they get rated.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like I watched this recent video. It was only like yesterday about really old game about Bionicles, like Bionicle Heroes. I played as like a kid. I I don't
Oh,
know.
jeez.
I don't remember much about the game, but I remember being like an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter game. But originally it was going to be rated M for mature, and I was like,
I remember that. I
"This
remember hearing about that. Yeah.
what Bionicles rated M for mature?" And I watch it, and I'm just like, this doesn't really look like an M for mature game. But apparently it's because it's a first-person shooter, and most first-person shooters back then were like rated M for mature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Halo was rated M. I mean, you had a lot of blood. You had, the elite with his chest torn out. But apart
Oh
from
yeah,
that, there wasn't
that's
anything too gruesome. I mean, there was the flood, but that was about it. But yeah, there's some games I don't like, know why they just get rated some ways.
yeah, that's very true. It's um, like Halo Reach. I don't think needed to be M for mature. I think it could have easily passed for a T rating.
Yeah,
Um, I think the only thing that would really give it the M for mature rating was like the assassinations. I think that's really it. Maybe. Um, because there's no flood in the game. There's no really over the top anything. Nobody gets their head shot off. There's no, decapitation or anything like that. It's just minor blood and a
yeah,
little bit of stabbing. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's like I was playing Spider-Man PS4, which a bit ago. Great game, by the way. But yeah, there's blood in that game, and that game is still rated T.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like context also does play part in the rating. Like obviously Spider-Man, he's a good guy and
Yeah,
he's hurting people because it's good. And I haven't played the game, but I don't think he, kills any crooks.
no, it doesn't.
Like he doesn't go on a mission and, murders people.
Yeah,
So I feel like context to an extent does matter with the rating, but yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from. Like,
yeah. I
yeah.
think it's just like the general theme of Reach, the fact that it's a constant losing battle and everyone's dying. It's really depressing. You got really sad music. I think it's just like the overall idea of
I
Reach.
suppose so. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, like Halo 5 was rated T for teen, but still had quite a bit of blood in it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, whatever games are you looking forward to?
Off the top of my head, honestly, like just Doom Eternal and Halo Infinite are really just kind of the main um players. There's a few games, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. I'm excited for the new Warframe update. That's what I'm excited for. I used to play it a ton back in the day when it first came out. But now I kind of went AWOL, and then I came back, and then I played it for a few months, and then I disappeared again, and now I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. But have you ever played Warframe?
I have it installed. I haven't played it though.
Yeah, it does suffer quite a lot from grinding.
Ugh.
Like any RPG or MMO game, though. Like, you just have to grind a lot, do like 30 missions to get a suit of armor, and then you can use that suit of armor to go grind on some more missions. And yeah, there's a few interesting things though, and it's always fun making a clan and like having your little clan base and fucking around with your friends, and then
Yeah.
you know you challenge your buddy to a duel, but then you realize he's like 30 levels higher than you and you just get one shot. That's always fun.
Yep.
um
Um, I don't know. Um, trying to think. Oh yeah, there's some games a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to them. There's Red Dead Redemption 2. Everyone's
oh, really interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but I played Red Dead Revolver when it first came out, and I thought it was pretty good. And then Red Dead Redemption came out. I played a little bit of it, didn't finish it. And Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be an okay game, but I'm not particularly hyped for it because I'm probably not gonna get it immediately. So
yeah. I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, I played Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption, I enjoyed. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels like it's one of those games that's it's being made a few years later, and they realize, oh wait, people love Red Dead Redemption. People probably have a lot of nostalgia for this game. Let's make a game. Let's make a sequel to that, so we can bank on nostalgia or whatever.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with
Yeah.
that.
Also, just in
Yeah, I
general,
definitely think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just in general, some of the things that's been coming out about it are just weird. There's like a collector's edition of the game, that's like $100 and it doesn't even include the game.
Yeah, that was a huge red flag when I first heard about that. Any game, any game that does that, that's a huge red flag to
Yeah,
me. Like I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda did that.
yeah.
um,
Why?
I do, I it just it's a collector's edition and it doesn't come with the game. I'm
Yeah,
just imagining a bunch of guys, sitting around in their office and they're like, "All right, so here's my pitch for the week. Let's make a collector's edition." And they're like, "Okay, all right." And it's like, "Okay, so it's got a statue of the character. Oh yeah, that sounds cool. All right, we got you got a little pamphlet for it. You got a little poster. Yeah, and it doesn't actually come with the game." And they're all like, what? And the guy's like, "Oh, let's just approve it. We're out for lunchtime. Let's just go send it out. It's a collector's edition. Nobody cares. It doesn't come with the game. Whatever."
yeah,
They'll just I'm too tired. Then they'll just send it out.
yeah.
um,
Um, I don't know. I've seen some gameplay of it. It looks like Red Dead Redemption, which is fine with me because I was fine with Red Dead Redemption's gameplay. I mean, it was a cover-based shooter. I'm not really a big fan of cover-based shooting games. Just kind of seems a bit boring to me. But
Understandable.
I'm overall fine with it.
All right. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
I think that's like one of those
It's
games I'll wait until it's on sale and then I'll buy it.
Yeah, the only way I'm gonna like buy it is if like my buddies are like, "Oh, it's fantastic, you need to get it," and then I'll be like, all right," because as of right now, it's kind of flying under my radar. I'm not really keeping too much of an eye on it, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. There's also Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, actually, yeah, no, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. I've been kind of avoiding um lot of story coverage because I've read a couple of articles and people are trying to just say stuff about it, and
Yeah,
I
I
just don't have time for that.
I'm starting to do that with like whenever there's a game I'm looking forward to. Like when it comes near to the release day, I'll just not go on the internet until I beat the game. I did that with
Exactly, yeah.
I did that with Spider-Man PS4. It's just like okay, I don't want any spoilers, so I just stayed off the internet until I beat the game, and I'm just like okay, didn't have any spoilers. I enjoyed it. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
With Cyberpunk
And I
20. Oh no, you go
Oh,
on.
sorry. No, okay. I feel like I'm almost worried that the public perception is gonna ruin my opinion of Cyberpunk 2077. I watched the trailer and that's pretty much it. And I just that and I'm like, okay, it looks like it's got potential, and then I see like articles being like, "Oh, you can do all this and it's bad," and it's like, "Oh, okay," and it's like, "Oh, you can, you know." I'm not saying what you could do, but
Yeah,
there was an article that stated a couple of things you could do in the game, and I'm like, is that true, or is that just like clickbait? Either way, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
Um,
I think it was me. I watched the trailer. They did also release 48 minutes of gameplay, which I watched. They do have bullet time in it. Thank you.
mhm.
I love bullet
Yeah, I
time.
heard about
Yeah,
that. That's
but
understandable.
I watched it and I'm just like, well, to me it kind of seems like a more scripted version of Skyrim in like a cyberpunk setting. Kind of looks like
Okay.
that. I mean, like it kind of seems like a type of game instead of being like this, big game with like oh, a bunch of choices matter and all that stuff. It kind of seems like a game where you just go from point A to point B to point C, and and they say that you have a bunch of different choices on how you handle certain encounters. Now, I do believe them on that, but I haven't seen them. Like in the 48 minutes of gameplay, they only showed one way you can do it, which if so, that's a really long way you can play one way of the game. But
Okay.
yeah, but at the same time, I haven't seen too much of it, so I'm just like, eh. What they showed didn't
Yeah.
really impress me.
Yeah, from what I've heard, those missions where you can do multiple different things, it just feels like one of those, I can't remember which games, but it's just like one of those games where they're like, "Oh, you have, 100 choices," and then when they mean that, they just mean like the amount of guns you can use to kill the enemy, or you can go the next block over and shoot him with a sniper rifle if you want, but you could just run in there with a shotgun and finish the mission in under 5 seconds, and then collect whatever. So I just hope that if they do, when developers mean you have all these different choices, I genuinely hope that's the case. Because I don't know, like I feel like some games can just kind of take advantage of that and are deliberately vague, where it's like, oh yeah, you can enter this building in 4 different ways, and all they mean is just like, oh, you can go through the front door, and then you can take the ceiling, and then
Yeah,
you can come back later with a vehicle, and that's it. Like those are the
yeah,
only things. Like you can't like smash through a window or anything. You can't. It's not that creative. So
yeah.
that's a worry of mine.
Because there are certain
Yeah,
rules that the game has to adhere to.
that is very true.
Yes, because that's the thing. That's the one thing I mentioned in my video on fear is just you can't let the player do literally anything, because if you do that, your game it just becomes completely unpredictable. How are you going to design a game around the fact that you can do anything? You're basically Superman at that point. You know, how are you supposed to
That is
structure a
true.
game?
Yeah.
So you got to put limitations on it. Okay, so the player can't do this, the player can't do that. Okay, when you have a better idea of what you can and can't do, it's much easier to design the game.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I think to an extent there does need to be balance because obviously the developers can't program all those different options. Um,
Yeah,
and I feel like if they even if they had the tools to do like 200 different options, it would feel a bit what's the word that I'm looking for? I guess diluted. It would be kind of all over the place. The gameplay would vary so much, and it would just be so all over the place, and resources would be better spent elsewhere. So yeah, to an extent, I do agree where you can't go over the top with that,
yeah,
and especially with a game that's more linear, you obviously need it to be um, linear. It needs to be consistent with its gameplay because
yeah.
otherwise, then it's just all over the place.
But you can't make it too linear, otherwise the player will feel as if they have very little input in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need to have.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Yeah, yeah. But basically, you need to give the player options, on how to approach a game. You need to make them strategize and think about what to do next. But at the same time, you got to realize, as much as you'd like to, you can't do anything. You can't do
Yeah.
everything. I mean,
Yeah. You
yeah.
gotta have control, but you don't want them to make them the developer,
Yeah,
essentially.
because it's just like that's the thing a lot of developers seem to be doing, like especially with like David Cage games, because they realize, wait, if we let the player have control, it's possible they could, like take themselves completely out of the immersion by doing something ridiculously stupid during gameplay. So what we'll do is that we'll limit the gameplay to just cutscenes and just interactive dialogue. That way, then they can't be taken out of the story. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Regardless, though. Oh yeah, sorry, you go.
yeah, because at that point you're basically just making the game an interactive movie. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true. That's
because
true.
and it's just like that was like one thing I remember them doing with Max Payne 3. They tried so hard to make the animations of Max in that game look like realistic and work realistically, but the issue is that it made Max control like absolute garbage, and it's just like I think Racevic said it best in his Max Payne 3 video. It's just like immersion's always going to be broken, but at the same time the controls is something the player's never going to want to be broken.
That is very true. Yeah.
Someone's always like players are always going to find ways to break the immersion. Like it's not, it can't be stopped, no matter what
Yeah,
you do.
absolutely.
So all right,
Like even with games like Skyrim,
yeah,
you need that immersion. The immersion is essentially it's essential.
yeah,
But things like fast traveling will break you out of the immersion because you're essentially just going across the map. But you need to sacrifice that to make the gameplay better, to an extent.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
yeah. That's the issue. That's I feel like a lot of games are dealing with nowadays is the conflict between the story and the gameplay. And how both translate to each other.
Oh yeah, very much so.
I mean, I don't want to use the term ludonarrative dissonance, whatever the meaning is. It's basically like a meaning a lot of people use when like the narrative doesn't fit the gameplay and vice versa. But I don't know. I just feel like a lot of developers are having issues nowadays because just like what do we focus on? Do we focus on making a good narrative? Do we focus on making a good game, or have the narrative suffer? It's a constant struggle, and I feel like somebody needs to find a way to kind of balance things out.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like one of the biggest fixes to that would just be give the developers more time and a bigger team. But unfortunately, with games, that are under pressure to release at a certain date, like before Christmas or something, there is always that pressure. But I do feel like, especially, you know, going back to what I said earlier with my concerns on Halo Infinite, I want to give them as much time as they can possibly get so they can develop like the best Halo game. But at the same time, they have bosses, they have people to please, they have to make a certain amount of money at the end of the year, especially like their quarters and stuff. They got to make money. Um,
Yeah,
so they have to release the game. They can't stall the game for like 6 years and not release it because obviously, Microsoft has to make money. 343 has to make money. They all have to make money.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
also, there was like this one statement someone said. I can't remember who said it, but it's a really good statement. It's nothing good has ever been made with an infinite amount of time and money, and that's very true.
that's true.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, you look at a game like Duke Nukem Forever. That game took, yeah,
uh,
okay, that game was in development for more than World War Two and World War One combined, and didn't turn out too well. And it's just saying that just because you have a lot of time and just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean it's gonna be a guaranteed success. It all depends on effort and skill.
that is very true. That is
You know,
very true.
but yeah, I do agree. There are a lot of games that, for example, Halo Two. If that game had another like, I don't know, like couple months to polish out some of the issues with it, it would have been a lot better. But at the same time, they had a
Yeah.
deadline. They couldn't move. Oh, hit the mic. Didn't It had a deadline. They couldn't move the
Yeah.
deadline back anymore. It's like the game had to be released now.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I can't remember which video documentary it was, but they were talking about Halo 2 and that E3 trailer or whatever that
Yeah, it had to
I
be
can't remember
completely
what it was called.
scrapped.
Completely scrapped, and that was a completely different engine. They had to remake the whole game
In like under
because
a
it
year.
wouldn't work. Yeah, in under a year. And they even said like the brutes that were at it were totally just like shoehorned in. They were like that was like a last minute enemy.
And I can totally see that
Um,
because they only appear to like towards the end of the game.
exactly. Yeah. Like for being an enemy that they made in the last couple of months, though, that was pretty well done. Like
Yeah. I
they
also
just do.
ooh, I also feel like the brute plasma rifle, which is basically just like the plasma rifle. It's red. It fires a bit faster. I don't know. I feel like that was actually meant to be a completely different gun, but like they didn't have time to develop it, so just okay, we'll make a different plasma rifle.
I can see that honestly.
I feel like they
Like with
would.
Halo 3, yeah, with Halo 3, you can see like all those new brute weapons, and there's only like two new brute weapons in Halo 2, being the brute shot and the brute plasma
Yeah,
rifle, and that's like,
I feel like the brute plasma rifle was kind of supposed to be like the spiker from like Halo 3.
yeah.
That going with like the little daggers on the end of it, but obviously they didn't have time to do it, so we'll just make it another plasma rifle, I guess.
I could totally see that happening actually. That's that because they could have just used the plasma rifle as a placeholder, just been like, okay, make it red, and then they're like, okay, never, we don't have enough time, just make it. That's it. That's the gun.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
make it a stronger. Yeah,
most of the time, if anything in Halo 2 kind of feels a bit iffy, most of the time it's due to development.
yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true.
yeah. But yeah, they went through hell to make that game made.
Yeah, and apparently, like, modding the game on PC is like absolute hell.
Oh yeah, I've seen videos on that.
It's like held together. Like I can't remember who it was, but somebody literally said it's held together with like toothpicks and duct tape. Like it crashes constantly, and it's just very unstable. And it's a miracle that they got it together in that amount of time on that engine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, Halo 2 ended up being pretty good, even with the weird development cycle.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the multiplayer pretty much redefined first-person shooter multiplayer games forever.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because the odds, the chances of Halo 2 being delayed again or having something go horribly wrong were pretty high. So the fact that it succeeded so well with flying colors, despite, the last minute additions to the game and basically how they had to remake the whole game in a new engine that they had very little experience with, it makes you think. Makes you think how everything could have gone wrong.
Yeah, but they still put heart and effort into it, and the game released and everyone loved it. It broke sales records.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then with Halo 3, they had a bit more time, so okay, we'll just fix everything that we did wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oof.
Makes
Uh,
me makes me want to play Halo. Goodness.
yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
So, any other games you're looking forward to?
Um, that's pretty much it, honestly. There's well, Spider-Man PS4, but I don't own a PS4.
Oh,
That's something that I want to play. But it's just gonna be one of those games where I'm either gonna have to wait for a sale or just go to a friend's house, borrow their PS4, and just say, oh, I'll be back in a month, and I'll just yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was actually talking to someone who on Twitter earlier today who was like that because I posted a picture saying like 100% complete the game. They're just like, "Hey, can I borrow your PS4 now, dude? Yeah, I really want it. Can I play Spider Man, please?"
That's awesome.
I don't know why
Yeah.
they made it PlayStation 4 exclusive. All the other Spider Man games were multi-platform.
Oh, that reminds me of Spider-Man 2. The classic one. Oh, geez, Spider-Man 2.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that.
the original one.
Yeah. The one riddled with memes. Yes, I played that when it first came out, and I like genuinely enjoyed it because I was a little kid then. I was probably about what, like six years old, I think. I don't even know when the game came out. What was it, like
It
2005?
was 2004.
2004? 2004? Okay, yeah, I was about like 5 or 6 years old when I first played it, and I just liked it. I thought it was a fantastic game. Um, and oh geez, the pizza delivery music
Yeah.
that'll always be in my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that so much.
They actually do make a reference to that in the new game. If you listen closely next to one of the pizza restaurants, you can hear the pizza theme.
I am yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool. They make a bunch of references to old Spider-Man stuff in that game, and it's pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah. Any games I'm looking forward to? I don't really know. I can't really think of any of.
No worries.
Yeah. Oh no. So, moving on from that, what else are we going to talk about? I think we're going to talk about like some of our favorite games, I guess. Although we were kind of already
Oof.
doing that.
All right. Ooh, boy, do I ever have a fucking huge list.
Okay.
I was actually gonna make a video about this like a year ago for my YouTube channel, but it was like back in the day where I was still kind of like not camera shy, but like you know uh video shy, I suppose.
Yeah.
I didn't want to really talk if I didn't have to. So it was just basically like number 15 Burger King foot lettuce. No, it was like number 15 Team Fortress 2, number 11 Gary's Mod. It would just be like it was just basically like, you know,
Yeah.
being voiced by Chills or something, but yeah, no, it was cringy as all hell, so
Yeah. I kind of had that issue when I was first starting out because I've kind of suffered a lot from social anxiety in my life. So at first I was just kind of like, I'm gonna sound like awful and all this stuff. But then I post Doom 3 review, which is the first video I make, and then everyone likes it. I'm like, okay, oh,
yeah.
okay then.
Yeah, no, I think you got a good voice for it, and I think you got a good noggin for that. So you
Yeah,
got you got
yours,
some
mate.
you got some good words.
Yeah. Oh no.
Nah,
But
but
you can kind
yeah.
of tell if you watch that video again. Yeah, I'm a bit shy with my words.
Oh yeah, me too, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh well.
I think the only video I've made that I just flat out don't like is the Dead Space one because I think I just kind of messed up the microphone a bit and it's just like constantly like loud, just like blaring in your ears. I'm just like, oh goodness gracious. I don't know. Plus, also there's just like some things in that video I just don't like. But yeah, all the other ones I'm pretty happy with.
There's a ton of videos that I hate that I
Yeah,
thought about deleting, but it's almost like an archive of just like me.
yeah,
And it really goes to show how much I've changed over the years. Like, when my first video, I think I made in Microsoft Movie Maker. So, I used Microsoft Movie Maker. I didn't know how to edit. I posted it when I was like 16, I think. Yikes.
yeah,
And it was just like, yeah, that was my first video. And then it was ironic when I first like kind of, I knew Microsoft Movie Maker was like a huge meme. So I was like, okay, let's make this my thing. So I just used Microsoft Movie Maker and made shit posts. But now I'm like using Sony Vegas Pro and actually trying to put effort into my videos now. So I'm getting a new microphone in November, stuff like that. So
Yeah, I use Premiere for video editing.
oh yeah, no, I use that in university. They're actually quite similar in a way, which is weird.
Yeah, a lot of people have the arguments like Vegas versus like Premiere. I've used
Oh
both.
yeah,
They're pretty similar to me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just like the blue color. I just like the blue color more than more than the other colors.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. I actually am making a video about like how I make my kind of reviews because I was having a
Oh yeah.
convers. Yeah, yeah, I am.
Cool.
I'm going to be using. I'm currently making a video on Doom 3 expansion pack. I forgot to mention in my Doom 3 review. I'm basically going to be talking about it because I was having a conversation with a little friend of mine, Baggy Spine 117. He's probably listening to this right now, in which case, hi, buddy. Um, when the video goes up. He's known as the Noble Wart Master on Twitter.
Oh
Wart,
yeah,
Wart.
no, I follow him on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Oh, I know about him.
we've had a few talks. I'm not going to reveal anything because he has a few projects in the work. I'm going to be helping him with them, but I don't know if he wants them revealed yet, so I won't reveal them. But yeah, I'm basically going to be like kind of doing that video, and he can get a good idea of how I do things, and like I'm going to be giving out some advice to like people kind of looking to do something similar.
Okay, yeah, no, that I think that's really good, especially for just anyone really. It's always good to just kind of share the method of how you do stuff because like for me, my kind of whole channel is inspired by a lot of other people.
Yeah,
So I feel like, if both either of our channels do happen to get bigger, it's always good to kind of show how it's done so new people can kind of start their channels and learn from that and stuff. So it
yeah,
is always good.
yeah. I don't know. I did do recording for the Doom 3 video earlier today, so I'll have to get right on to that after we finish this podcast, like whenever. Um,
Alrighty.
I'm not saying we're gonna finish anytime soon. When we finish, yeah, I'll get to work on it. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll basically just keep talking until we run out of things to say, or until I'm
Alrighty.
dead. Yeah. When it comes to video games, I have a lot to say. When it comes to literally any other topic in life, like politics, I just nothing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
video games are pretty much my whole life.
Understandable. Yeah, no. I have a lot of opinions on things, but I try to not. Um like I see stuff on Twitter and I'm like I just really want to comment on that. People are saying, "Oh, this is bad, this is wrong," or "This is right, this is great." And I'm like, I want to say something, but it's like
Yeah,
yeah, I try not to get into debates or arguments or anything simply because there's no reason for me to. It's 90% of the time, the world isn't going to change when you're having a Twitter argument. So it's
yeah,
if you want to make yeah, if I want to make real change, then there's better ways of doing it. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
I've seen some pretty stupid stuff on Twitter.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, like very controversial stuff, and sometimes I even wonder if it's just bait. Like,
yeah,
people are just trying to deliberately mess with you, but
yep,
it's all good. It happens.
yeah. It does happen. I mean, the thing is with me is that like I feel like a lot of with YouTube nowadays, a lot of YouTube nowadays is based around negativity. And
Yeah, I feel like the cult not the culture, but there is like a community to that where it kind of yeah, it's like a progenitor that there's a lot of people that really like to create negativity because negativity it's easier to hate something than it is easier to love something. At least from experience and life, but I feel like it's just easier to say you don't like something and state why than, give all the reasons why you love something. And
yeah,
also, people will jump on board easier when it's something to hate or to, well, same thing with loving something. That's why there's communities across the world for all kinds of different things. And, you know, but when it comes to like the EA loot box controversy, I think it was very justified that people were mad, but it spread like wildfire. And one of the reasons why was A, it was obviously very controversial, but B, it was because their favorite YouTubers were talking about it and they were going, I hate this. And then people would go, okay, my favorite YouTuber hates this, therefore I will hate it. So it was like YouTube definitely to an extent is based off of negativity a lot. Like, clickbait is usually seen as a very negative thing. So it is a progenitor of negativity, and it kind of is a vicious cycle of that because people almost have to do clickbait now to keep their channels sustained, and to earn that amount of money because I can't remember which YouTuber it was. It was one of the I can't remember his username, but he works with like iDubbbz and stuff. He's done collabs with iDubbbz and Joji and the pink Filthy Frank guy. They've done collabs. He had a video that had 1.2 million views, and it only made $500. So with somebody who does YouTube if you do YouTube full time, that's terrifying because you constantly have to make that amount of money consistently because you've got bills to pay. You have to constantly ensure yourself that you will get those views. So, and sometimes, it's the easy way out is just clickbait and being like, hey, or establishing on a controversy, talking about discussing a controversy or something that will catch your eye. And usually negativity is something that catches people's eyes. So a lot of people are afraid because they want to sustain their channel, so they have to kind of lean to negative stuff like that. But also, I'm just rambling, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing with me is that when I started out, I'm just like well, the thing is, I wasn't really intending to like make reviews on a consistent basis. This is like a thing I intended to do. What was happening? Okay, is that I was just like, well, I like Doom 3. A lot of people don't really seem to like it, so I'm just like, I'll make a video explaining why I like this game. A lot of people like that video, so I'm just like, okay, I'll make another one. Well, I'll do Dead Space, and then it just kind of evolved from there. Never really intended to
yeah,
do this kind of stuff.
yeah. No, yeah. With my channel, I just went, oh, I like games. I'm gonna post a video about a game, and then I was like, okay, well, people seem to like this, and then I was like, okay, maybe. I'm kind of getting bored of doing the same thing, so I'll try something new. I've got this game, I've got, this software, might as well try something new, and then I'll post it. If it gets positive feedback, then maybe I'll do a little more, and it just kind of eventually evolves. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just doing what I like, so yeah.
yeah, it's the same thing with me. I mean, there's some people who've requested me to do reviews on certain games. I'm just like, no, I don't really want to. I don't really have any interest in that game whatsoever. It's like,
Yeah, that's understandable.
yeah, I've had some people ask me to do a review on Fortnite. I'm just like, no, don't want to. I don't have any interest in
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Yeah, that's true.
Because generally, like, whether I do a review on a game, whether it's like a positive review or a negative review, it's generally because I'm interested in the game.
Yeah. I
Like,
think if you Oh, sorry, you go.
oh yeah, I mean, this is one piece of advice I share in the video. I'll just share it now. Okay, it's just like if you're gonna do a review on something, the best reviews to do are games that you actually have something to talk about. Because if I mean, I could do a review on Fortnite, but it's just kind of a meh game. I don't really have anything to say about it. It's just meh. It wouldn't really make a very interesting video. So I generally try and stick to games where I could say something interesting, or you could learn something about the game that you didn't learn before.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I feel like with anybody's channel, if you post what you like and just do what you like, you'll find people that like what you like, and they'll continue to watch your channel because they like exactly what you like. So if you have a channel, don't be afraid to experiment with other things, but if you do, always do what you like doing because there will always be someone else that will like what you do. So, don't try to be something that you're not because I've seen so many YouTubers that, they do something and then they do something new because somebody else told them to. And then a year later, they disappear and then they come back 2 months later and go, hey guys, sorry for disappearing for a super long period of time. I just wasn't liking what I was doing anymore. So it was
Yeah,
like, you know,
I mean, the longest
it's always important.
Yeah. I mean, the
Sorry.
longest period I
Yeah.
went between making videos was between like a video I made on the Stanley Parable and then the Fear video. It was like a 2 months in between. And the reason isn't because I was getting tired of YouTube. The reason is because I was doing a bunch of research on the Fear video. The Fear video was definitely like the one that took the most work to make because even though I like Fear, I've been playing it for many, many years. I decided if I'm gonna do a review on Fear, I gotta be prepared. I gotta have the most research done. So there's like this one channel, AI and Games, and he's like a teacher at like a university, and he gives like an hour and a half long like lectures on like artificial intelligence, and there's like four of them, and I'm constantly having to just watch them and just keep learning about like how AI is done in a video game. Because before the Fear video, I'm just like I have no idea how AI works in video games. No experience. Yeah,
Yeah. No.
I have no idea. But like after watching those videos, I'm just like I feel like Neo from the Matrix. I can see the code behind everything. I just know how everything. Yeah, I just know how everything works. I mean, it's kind of like the thing is just like it's kind of like one of those like magic tricks. You're just like, well, that's a really impressive magic trick, and then like you actually find out how you do it, and just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Because some things they do with AI, I'm just like, well, how did they do that? It must have taken years of programming. And then I find the answer. I'm just like, oh, really? It didn't really take that much effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just like like with the Fear video, I was expecting it to be like a thing that it's just like it's like a spider diagram. It's like 500 million different things the AI could do, and it's just like, well, it turns out all the AI does is just moves around the environment and animates. I'm just like, oh, great,
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with
Yeah.
that.
But
Yeah, that's pretty.
at the same time, it does make it so I have a better idea of what I'm talking about, and that's why in that video I talked a lot about the AI because it's just like everyone says, the AI in Fear is like super advanced. It's not really. It's the same kind of AI they were using in Pac-Man. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
And kind of going on the topic of what you mentioned before, I think there like you didn't post for 2 months. I think that's totally fine. Because you gotta with anybody's channel, you gotta move at your own pace. You gotta do, whatever. And especially if it's something like unless if you state otherwise, you don't owe your subscribers.
yeah,
Like I feel like I do because it's like, it's your channel, people create like your creations. So it's like to an extent, I do feel like I need to create. And it's good because I feel motivated, but I like doing it as well. So it's like a happy thing because I'm constantly given purpose to continue. So yeah, it's good, but I feel like there's absolutely nothing wrong with like taking a break from YouTube or taking months to make a video, especially if it's to make a new video. Like if you're going, on a hiatus, but like you disappear, but you're making a new video, you're doing a lot of research. That's awesome. That's
yeah,
that's really good. Because it really just goes to show how much the person appreciates their channel and their viewers, and it shows that they're a very determined person. So it is always a good thing to do.
yeah. And I do try and like share my videos out with people who would be interested in the topic. Like I feel like if I was just like to share the video of like a random YouTuber, they'd just be like, okay, whatever. I try and share it with people who have like an interest in the topic. Like I shared
Oh yeah.
my Fear video with Late Night Gaming, who had
Oh really?
yeah, I
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, he recently had made a video on Fear, which I actually do mention in the video. I'm like, check out these videos on Fear. They do a better job explaining what I did. And I share it to him, and he gets back to me just like, yeah, it's a really good video. And I'm kind of and I'm just like, well, thanks. But
Awesome.
it's because he had previously made a video on Fear, so I'm just like, well, he's done a video on Fear. I'm sure he would be interested in learning more about it. I wouldn't share it with someone like, well, I don't know, just like a random person who has no interest in the topic. So
Mm.
generally when I try and share my videos, I try and share them with people who are familiar or interested in with the topic. Like with my Max Payne video, I shared it with like a Max Payne like fan page or whatever, and I got more views from there. But it's just like those are people who actually have an interest in Max Payne. I wouldn't share it with like just random people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And I feel like sharing videos on sites or forums that are, you know, um, tied to that video. Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing to do, and it really does help your channel out. So yeah, no, definitely. I've done that a couple of times. I'm talking with people and they bring something up, and I just go, "Oh, why not watch this? And then they go, oh. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But there is I do have a few plans in the works. For videos, I have one planned for November and December, especially. I've already made a video that will be released next month. It's a video on Max Payne 2. It's 51 minutes long. It's the longest I've made a video.
Yeah, also.
Yeah, but I do have other plans in the works, especially for November, because thing is, the reason why the Max Payne 2 video, I'm not releasing it right now, because even though it is finished, I'm releasing it next month, because next month is the 15-year anniversary for the game, so I'm thinking it'd be more appropriate to release it then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, more. And then in November and December, it's the 20th anniversary for Half Life and the 25th anniversary for the original Doom. So,
Oh dude. 20th anniversary for Half-Life. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
yeah.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Yeah, no, I have something very, very special planned for Half Life. I'm not gonna give it away, but yeah, it's something I don't. It's something I don't really see a lot of people doing. I've seen like one person do it, which kind of gave me the idea, but it's an idea I've had, and I don't know if it's going to turn out well, but hopefully it will give something unique to it, because uh, 20th anniversary of Half Life. I got to do something special with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez. Imagine if they did actually release Half-Life 3. Because, like, it's almost like now is the perfect time. Because it's like 20th anniversary coming up. People are still making occasional jokes about Half-Life 2, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
yeah,
You know, it's almost like it's been self-marketing itself, just purely based on, fan hype. They don't even need like marketing. It's just like, people have been talking about it for so many years, and now it's
yeah.
like if it did actually come out, then
Yeah, the last time we got a Half Life game was yeah, was in October 2007. It's been over 11 years.
yeah, yeah. Oh, there's always potential.
Yeah, well, actually,
There's always potential.
there are people. This is one like thing. This is one game called Project Borealis, which is basically supposed to be Half Life 3. Okay, Valve. Okay, if it's taken so long to the point where people are making the games for you, I'm sure there's an issue somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're making the game on Unreal Engine 4, but there's also like another like Half-Life 3 like fan game that's like being made, and one of them is going to be like Half-Life 3 if it released in like 2007, and Half-Life 3 if it released in like the modern day. So it'd be kind of interesting to see, both sides of it. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the thing is with Half-Life 3, I don't really think Half-Life 3 would work in the modern day market, because the thing is with Half-Life is a very archaic shooter. Like, like you climb
Yeah.
up ladders, you don't have to use your arms, you can still fire a gun when climbing up ladders. You still have like fixed health or some it's it's becoming more of a thing with like the new Doom and all that, but it's basically more of like an old school shooter. It's like one of the last like true old school shooters, so I'm really not sure if it would translate well to modern day settings.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The gaming environment has changed so much over the years to the point of where it's almost unrecognizable from, 15 to 20 years ago. So, um, with a game like Half-Life, it's almost like it makes me wonder if it was to be released today, would it be any good, or would it sustain and be so good simply like if it did actually work, would it be, self-sustaining simply because it was Half-Life, or was it because it's classic gameplay and people are seeking out classic gameplay or
Yeah.
something like that? What extent would it be popular? For what reason would it be popular? Um, that's always something that I wonder, especially when um, a game from an old franchise re-releases. Like even when Doom 2016 first came out, that was a question of mine. To what extent will they change the game to match the modern gaming environment? If anything, what would they change? So that was always something that I wondered about. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't feel like because the thing is that like it's been so long since Half-Life 2 Episode 2, um, to the point where people are now making Half-Life 3 for them. But
yeah,
it's been so long to the point where expectations for the game are like so high at this point. It's just like even if Half-Life 3 released and was like the best game ever, people would still be disappointed because the game would never meet their unrealistic expectations. And
that is actually very true. I
yeah,
see what, yeah.
And even if it was to release today, it wouldn't be the Half-Life 3 they were making back like 10 years ago.
That is also true, yeah. And I feel like a lot of the developers that made Half-Life 2, I feel like most of them are gone, aren't they? Or
Yeah,
they're
they are.
working on other
One of
projects.
them,
So it wouldn't even be the same game. Like
yeah,
it wouldn't even be close. So
yeah.
yeah.
Like all the writers like left Valve, and people were just like, nope, Half-Life 3 is not going to happen because there's no more writers left at Valve. They don't need writers for online games. Then like one writer came back, and I'm just like, okay, why did he come back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
They actually made a joke
And
about that. There was like a new like Dota 2 thing where they had Gabe Newell do some voiceovers, and he just like, well, dude,
yeah.
it's a triple kill, triple.
Yeah, I saw that. That
Yeah,
made me laugh. I started giggling at that.
you've killed more than two in less than four. Yeah, they've made some jokes about it, but I don't know. I don't really think Half-Life 3 from Valve would really ever be a thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because the
I
thing
wouldn't
is,
mind if Valve. Oh, sorry, you go.
yeah. Because also the thing is that many people have said it like a million times before. Valve doesn't need to make games to stay alive. Like with Steam alone, they made like I don't know, like $800 million off of Steam in like 2016 alone.
That's true, yeah.
Which the
Ooh.
Half Life series has made like around like double that in like 20 years, which is pretty good for a video game series. But it's just like, why would we? And like with Half Life Two was in development for 6 years. It had like a $40 million budget. It was like, and there was a bunch of stuff that went on with Half Life Two's development. It was crazy. It's just like, why would we spend like X amount of years with X amount of money making this game when we could make more money in just a few years just by selling other people's games? And
That's true.
we don't have to risk disappointing people with an unsatisfying sequel.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So I don't know. I
Uh,
don't think Valve is ever going to make Half-Life free, but I am looking forward to those fan games. I will check them out. But also, I feel like they might work better because of the fact it's not Valve making them. I feel like people are going to have more realistic expectations for it.
yeah. And
Yeah,
also, I feel like the community knows what everybody wants more
yeah,
than Valve at this point. So
yeah, yeah. At this point, I'd rather see Half-Life in the hands of people that actually would do something with it than Valve, because Valve doesn't really do anything with it anymore.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather see like another developer do Half-Life.
yeah. No, I wouldn't even mind if they ever did make Half-Life and it had to be like by Valve. I wouldn't mind if they actually just hired part of like the Borealis team or something. They just got some community members and then they worked in partnership with Valve, kept a close eye on them, but made sure that, it was the game that the guys wanted to make. So,
Yeah.
um, something like that, or a spin-off game or something like that.
I mean, the thing is
'Cause
with
if,
the thing
yeah,
is with Valve, they've never had deadlines, and apart from the episodes for Half Life Two, they had deadlines for them, but they don't set deadlines for their games because they feel like they'll release the game when it's ready.
that's true. That's
Which
true.
in Half Life Two's case, that was 6 years. Yeah, it took forever to get Half Life Two out. But then again, at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of developers at Valve that are like really skilled, but their skills aren't really being put to use because why make a new
Yeah.
game when there's the new Artifact game coming out. Yeah, which everyone was. There's a video of like everyone reacting to it, and they're just like, "Ah,
I know, it's great. There was like a few people being like, "What?" And then it was mostly just like, "Ah."
come on, make Half Life 3 already, guys."
Yeah. And I love how they like started booing the second that it was like the Dota card game. And they were just
Yeah,
like, "Ah."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I just don't think like making Half Life 3 in nowadays market is like a viable thing for business.
Yeah. Like I wish for it to come out, but realistically there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, like I think like when the original Half Life released, it was like the like well, I don't know about it. I don't know if this is true because like with Doom, I think Doom was like the most popular first-person shooter game for like years and years and years. But I feel like when like Half-Life came out, it had sold like the most copies out of like any first-person shooter game, so it like made like the most money.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like I think Half Life Two is actually like according to Wikipedia, which great source by the way. According to Wikipedia, like Half Life Two is like the 10th best-selling PC game of all time,
Huh.
which is
I can see that. I can see that.
yeah. I mean, it's all like 9 million copies. It was released on like PC like originally just in 2004. It actually did outsell Halo Two, surprisingly.
Yeah, no. That
Yeah,
oh,
but yeah, I
that's
think
crazy.
yeah, but I think like more people have played Doom because back then you had like shareware or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
Where it's just like you get like the first part of the game free, so like more people have played Doom, but at the same time, Half Life is like the more selling series.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know. I mean, like Half Life is a big franchise. It's made a lot of money. Um, I don't know.
One thing that I've always wondered about Half-Life is during its lifespan, I'm surprised that they didn't do like more merchandise for it.
Yeah, well,
Because they could have made
there's been a few
like
merchandise for it.
I can't think of a whole lot of official Half-Life merch.
I know. I have a head crab
Yeah.
hat on my wall just to the side of me.
Oh, I want to get that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, there's also a crowbar they had like made, and it was like a little like Christmas one of the aliens, like one of the Vortigaunts. They had like a Christmas hat on one. It's really
That's
cute.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there hasn't been a lot of too much merchandise. More of the merchandise was for Portal. That
That
was
is true. That
yeah,
is actually very true. But yeah, no, it's like Half-Life was such a big cash cow. It always makes me wonder when developers don't capitalize on the merchandise for it. It's always intrigued me when they don't do that
yeah.
because there's so much potential. But yeah,
Yep. So yeah, that's just my position. I don't really think Valve would ever really make Half-Life 3. So I think any rumors that the company ever would need to kind of stop because I don't think they're ever going to make it.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway,
I wish, but yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so other games that we like. I don't know. There's plenty of games I like. Well, we were talking about it earlier, but I did like Spider-Man PS4. Thought that was pretty good. What else? What other games? Hmm. Not really sure.
Alrighty. Well, I'll list off a couple of games myself
All
then,
right.
and
All
maybe
right.
we'll see if it kind of resonates with you. But
All right. We'll see.
so yeah, I'll just list off a bunch of games that I just have. Um,
I'll look at my
Gary's
Steam
Mod
library.
for
Oh,
one.
Gary's Mod's really good.
Yeah, yeah, Gary's Mod, Team Fortress 2. A couple of years ago, Terraria was a huge thing with me. Don't Starve is pretty fun to play with buddies. Elder Scrolls, obviously, all of them, just all of them. Elder Scrolls,
A lot of people.
Fallout as well.
A lot of people were excited for Elder Scrolls 6. All we've seen is just like the title. And
Yeah, I know, right? Like they,
I
although
don't.
that was a crazy E3 though.
Yeah, it's like one of the best E3s in years.
Hmm.
Yeah. What other games are there?
Oof.
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas. Whew. Fallout New Vegas.
Fallout in Vegas have not played that in a while.
Okay. I thought you said haven't played it, and I was like,
I have played like all the Fallout games apart from like the first two.
yeah,
Mainly because of the fact that actually I have played the first one. I played it for like 20 minutes, but then I'm just like, this really is not the game for me.
yeah. No, I see where you're coming from with
Yeah,
that.
it feels a bit dated to me.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Other games that came out a while ago. Well, there's Left 4 Dead.
Oh yeah, Left 4 Dead, hands down.
Yeah.
Yes,
Speaking of Valve
especially with
games.
mods.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I think Left 4 Dead 2 was actually like much better than the first.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
more weapons, more zombies, and the mods obviously. I mean, I have this
oh
one mod on
yes.
like Left 4 Dead 2 where like all the zombies are Teletubbies and it's just hilarious. They're just
That's
screaming
always fun.
custards like the whole time. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's always fun to have mods.
yeah. I don't know, just some things absolutely ridiculous. There's Payday 2.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like Payday 2, but at the same time, the shooting mechanics have always felt kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, no, like just like the way like I feel like it's a bit too realistic. Like the character has a bit too much weight. And
I
just
can see that.
like aiming the gun and all that's a bit weird. Whatever games. There's Quake. Quake was a really good game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1996. Oh, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, it's just oh, I fucking that was my everything. That was my
Yeah,
life for
yeah,
such a long time.
yeah, that was
Oh,
Ooh,
I can't believe I didn't list it off like right away. Goodness.
yeah,
I still play it to this day. It's so fun.
yeah,
Mhm. It's so good.
yeah. It's way better than the EA one.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. Because the thing is, I feel like the thing is with a lot of games nowadays, not with all games, but I feel like with a lot of games nowadays, there's a lot of grinding involved, and I feel like the reason for that is because um, games nowadays, I feel like players may not find them as like they need a reason for the player to keep coming back to the game. So like, oh, you keep grinding to level 50, you get this reward. They have to keep constantly rewarding the player and keep constantly giving them a reason to play. When like years ago, you didn't really have to do that. You just had to make a fun game, and people would constantly keep playing it forever.
Yeah. I think it's also because of competition and also just kind of how this environment works with gaming now. It's
Yeah,
like the a bunch of games release in one year, and you only have so much time to make that first impression, and you have to almost make it so that the player has to keep playing to keep that consistent player base to keep people playing. Because there's always that thing where it's like, oh, this game just released, but 3 months from now, that other first-person shooter game will release. So it's like, ooh, we got a lot of competition. Got to make sure that our fans don't go to that game,
yeah,
and so I think that's one of the reasons why there's just a lot more competition in the gaming environment now.
yeah. Because like even like indie developers are becoming like much bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Whatever games are there here? There's the Splinter Cell games, which I did a video on
yeah,
one of those.
yeah, yeah.
It's actually my most viewed videos, and the thing is, I constantly have this friend who just constantly asks me why do I keep doing reviews on games that came out like 15 years ago, and it's just like, well, like the oldest one I did got the most views. Clearly people still have an interest in these games. They aren't like gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, but it's just like you constantly ask me why are you doing this game? This game came out like 10 years ago. Well, sorry I don't review every game day one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, But I don't know. I just like there's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of modern games nowadays that just don't really have interest in to do. So it's just like, well, I'll talk about the games I actually care about. Then if there's like a new modern game that comes up, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of games these days, I just don't have too much interest in. There's
Yeah,
very few and far between that I'm genuinely excited for. Mostly because I have most of the games that I already want now, and all the voids of oh, I wish I had like an adventure game. Oh, I wish I had this game. That's already kind of filled. There's very few games that kind of fill the same void and stuff. So and B, a lot of games these days are just kind of they come off as just kind of run of the mill. They just the same game every single year. It's just the same kind of game,
yeah,
same dude bro shooter game every couple of years.
yeah,
With starring John Johnson as he fights 100 guys, and then it's just the same games. So there's very few games that feel unique these days that are made from AAA developers. So
yeah. That
yeah.
that's true.
Although I'm kind of a hypocrite though, because it's like I'm a big fan of Halo, and Halo is basically big dude bro fights 100 aliens. .mp4, but
Yeah, I mean, like in like
yeah.
the first game alone, he blows up a whole Halo ring. He must have killed like at least 500 million people with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Master Chief's kill count is like through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
no.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, like the thing is, what I think a lot of developers could kind of try and do is that because like obviously no idea is 100% original. What they could try and do is that they could take like your average first-person shooter game or like add like an element from like a completely like different game into it. That makes it like very like new and fresh.
Yeah, I can see that.
You could even take elements from like different genres, and just like add them in. Just see like, oh, like would like an element from like an RTS game work in? Okay, we'll try that and see if it like makes a completely new experience.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, that's like one thing that the Halo games did very well is that they added new stuff, but at the same time, like each game wasn't like drastically different from the rest. Like Halo 2, it does have like new things from like Halo Combat Evolved, but at the same time, it still feels like a natural evolution of Combat Evolved, and the same with Halo 3.
Yeah, yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, yeah. I don't have much to say about that, but I agree.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just feel like there was that one like shooting game, Super Hot, which
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was a really cool game because it's just like like it's just a first-person shooter game, but it adds one new mechanic and it just changes the entire game. Like time only moves when you move. Um,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I feel that was like a very like interesting mechanic. The only issue I had with that game was that it was really short and it was like I don't know, like pretty pricey for a very short game. Like you can beat it in like 2 hours. But
That is true, yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, I feel like that was a great idea because like it's just like like literally like pretty much that's like the only like unique thing about it. It's like one new mechanic, that's like never been done before. But at the same time, that one new mechanic changed the entire game. Um, but apart from that, it's just like an average first-person shooter game. You run around, shoot dudes. That's it. But like just because you had like one completely different mechanic that had never been done before, completely new game.
Yeah. No, I totally see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like well, Max Payne. Like it's just the average third-person shooter game, but it has like one new mechanic, bullet time. That completely changes the game.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel like most games do need a single sort of gimmick or genre or something that defines the game.
Yeah,
I feel like that's,
I was
and
about to
it's a very, yeah,
I was about to
sorry.
get to yeah, I was about to get to that. I feel like what a lot of games nowadays are trying to do, especially in the case of like I was thinking of Cyberpunk 2077, it seems like they're going to be adding in like 500 million different mechanics. And I'm just like, well, okay, that's going to become kind of cluttered. Whereas just like I'm not saying you can't do that, but I still like I think your game has a better chance of success if you focus on doing one thing really well than like 500 things really well.
Yeah, because it's kind of, you can please um like 1,000 people super well with a single thing, but if you do too many things,
Yeah,
then you only moderately please a couple 100,000 people.
yeah,
And would you rather have a small, a moderately sized, fan base that are super in love, or would you rather have thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are just kind of like, it's all right. You can't please everybody, so
yeah.
you either try to please everybody and not fully succeed, or please a small portion of people a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but also
that's always a thing.
you can't really make a game like so like complex and like you have like 500 different buttons and like 500 different things to do because just like the human brain can only comprehend so many things at once. So it's just like you can't have like 500 different things at once because then you would need a tutorial like every 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't like have everything be like through the roof complex.
Yeah.
You
And tutorials in general can be pretty harmful if they're too invasive and there's
yeah
too much, because you'll overwhelm the player and then they'll just not even want to play the game because first impressions mean everything. And if your first
yeah
impression is 15 minutes of tutorials, then
yeah. That was
you're
one
not
thing
going
I
to do so well.
that was one thing I did. I think the Portal games did really well. It's just like the tutorials are so well done, you don't even think about them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the tutorial is almost the game.
yeah, like
So
the whole game is basically like one big tutorial where you're constantly learning new stuff. And it's the same thing like the Half-Life games. They just introduce new stuff naturally. They don't
yeah.
need to have a constant pop-up screen. Hey, this you acquired this new gun. Here's how you use it. And it's just like, I mean, one game that I
Yeah.
really love is Prey 2017. I thought that was a really good game. But
Oh yeah.
one issue I had with it is the fact that the tutorials weren't very well. Like you just had a screen pop up and say, "This is the new enemy. This is how you fight them." I'm just like, okay, there's more interesting ways of doing tutorials.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like with meeting a new enemy in a game, you can't pause the game and go, "Hey, this is how you defeat it." Like
yeah, it
you
just
almost
breaks the
need to
pace.
show. Yeah, you need to show how it's defeated. Like if it has a weak spot on the back, it needs to maybe like another character runs in and shoots it, and then it'll like act extra angry, and you'll go, "Oh, okay, it's the that spot I need to shoot at," or I need to do this to do, yeah, yeah, stuff like that.
That is one
Um,
thing Half-Life 2 did extremely well. For example, like when you first go into that zombie-infested town Ravenholm, you see like a zombie and like half of it's been cut off by like a blade in the wall, and so you get the idea, oh yeah, I can use blades to like cut these enemies in half. You didn't need to have a screen pop up and say like, oh, you fire these enemies. You just get the idea from the environment.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the
And
environment tells that
right
tutorial.
before Yeah, and right before that, you go to the junkyard and you're throwing stuff around, and you really get a feel for the gravity gun.
Yeah,
That's like it feels like you're just playing the game, you're just having a good time, but
yeah,
it's literally disguised as well, it's a tutorial disguised as just fun. You're just fucking around. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, like on the
Um,
side of the screen, sometimes in Half Life they'll say like, "Oh, you have to press this button to do things," but at the same time, it isn't like it isn't like Dead Space, which is like every 5 steps you take, you have like a big screen pop up with a voice telling you what to do, and like it stops you dead in your tracks to explain stuff. I mean, I like Dead
yeah.
Space, but that was just one thing that just constantly annoys me. Like every new playthrough of the game, I'm constantly just like, yeah, I get it. I've played this game for a million times. Can't I have an option to skip the tutorials, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's an issue I have of like some like games nowadays. That like I wish like even like old games, I wish tutorials could just be skipped because just like you played the game through a million times, you know how the game works. You don't need a tutorial.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I understand.
yeah. I don't know.
Sorry, I just dropped my I don't know if my mic picked that up, but I just dropped my keys. It was on my desk and I just knocked it off. So I just like low key. Yeah, I tried to just catch it. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
he is the
but anyway,
one. Catch the keys. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have much else to say.
yeah, me either. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
that's yeah,
I think we should call it a day here.
yeah, sure
All
thing.
right. Well,
Yeah, no, that was good, better than I expected.
yeah, this turned out really good. I don't know if this will become a regular thing. Like, I don't know. I have to think of some more topics we could talk about. If I don't, then we'll just
Yeah,
do
exactly.
whatever.
I feel like having other people and rotating, maybe even having 3 or 4 people in a podcast might be a bit chaotic, but that'd
Yeah.
be interesting to do.
Like I said,
Yeah.
Baggy Spine 117. I actually invited him onto the podcast. Like I was saying, like, hey, you want to do this? And he's just like, well, I want to see how things go first before like, yeah,
Gotta have a guinea pig to test the
yeah,
waters. Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
fun.
yeah. But so I don't know. Maybe he'll join us like next time, whatever. We'll try and talk about some stuff.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, sounds good to me.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Henry.
Yeah, no worries.
And go check him out. I'll link you in the description whenever this video goes up.
All right,
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I'll put it in the description. Yep.
All right.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you to everyone who watched the video to the end. We've been doing this for how long? 1 hour and 32 minutes.
Yowza. All
Yeah.
right, well, thank you for those who had the patience to listen to my voice for that period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And go check out some of Henry's work. He was like doing a Machinima recall. I'll leave a link to that as well.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
good to me.
you're involved in it. You're like not like the main creator.
Yeah.
You're involved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the main. I voice the main antagonist, so I haven't made an appearance just yet.
Yeah.
But I'll be. I'm not spoiling, but I'll be in episode 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'll leave
Which
a link
isn't
to where you
out
can
yet.
find like the
So.
first episode of that, and so everyone else can watch it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and adios.